What's up, tribe? Thank you for being here and welcome to our channel. Today's post is titled Poison. And as my brother's puppy keeps barking in the background, I'd like to apologize in advance and hope you can still hear me clearly nonetheless. Me. Whenever I have had the opportunity to see the sculpture of Laocoon and his children devoured by snakes, a strange feeling invades me that takes me away from the story that tells this fact and leads me more to think of something more metaphysical than myself. Makes you feel a bit uncomfortable. I am. What is your story? Me. Laocoon was a high priest in Troy, a famous kingdom on the northwestern shores of Anatolia in the Aegean Sea. The story of its end is what everyone still knows. The prince of Troy, Paris, falls in love with Helena, daughter of a Greek king, an impossible love, which makes Helena decide to leave with Paris. The Greek king would have asked Helen to return or would start a war against the Trojan peoples, but they themselves decided to respond in the name of love, and there was no choice but to advance against Troy, a story we know from Homer's Iliad. Despite the efforts of the Greeks, Troy seemed to win. So a soothsayer, Calcante, had an idea. Feign surrender by delivering an offering to the city, a wooden horse, but that inside it would hide Greek soldiers who would open the city gates to the army from within. The Laocoon was the only one who shouted in front of everyone, warning of the trap, supported by his children. But then 2 sea serpents, sent by Athena, devoured them in front of everyone, which made it clear that Laocoon seemed to be wrong. The horse entered, and, well, the rest already know it. I am. This is the myth. And what was the truth of the story? I am. This is the myth. And what was the truth of the story? Me. I suppose that the advance of the Persians on the Hittite territory in Anatolia caused insecurity in the Achaean peoples, and all the Hellenists, Greeks, decided to create a kind of barrier and defend the eastern islands and the Bosphorus Channel. So do not them. I think there's a typo here. It says that, so do not them, it was left to try to take those lands to defend their interests and security. And the Hellenists, Greeks, decided to create a kind of barrier and defend the eastern islands and the Bosphorus Channel. So it was left to try to take those lands. I don't know what it means to say here. Anyway, so do not them, it was left to try to take those lands to defend their interests and security. Laocoon was perhaps warning that the Greeks claimed to bring security, when in fact they planned to keep the territory. It is like what promises us to do good, but ends up being exactly what hurts us. I am like eating sugar, flour. It fills your stomach, it makes you feel happy, but it poisons you. Me. Yes, everything we consume in the world today is like the Trojan horse of the Greeks. Everything is dressed as something that does good, but ends up doing us badly. When I see Lao Kun and his children, I feel that feeling. Like that who wanted to say, hey, be careful, that this thing can go wrong. But that he himself was eaten by what he said, and therefore no one believed him, and everything went wrong. I am do what I say and not what I do. Me. Yes, beyond the story, the myth, and the fact that it explains a war situation. The perfect sculptural work by Escandro, Polidro, and Etendoro, and Etenodro de Rhodes some 2,000 years ago. Something very personal and metaphysical continues to awaken me, as if artists would in turn have summarized the history of each human, dying from the bite of their own internal poisonous creatures. The detailed faces of suffering of the three characters show the pain beyond the attack, but of having lost faith, of being defeated by the same gods they worshipped, betrayed by the same people they tried to defend, consumed by their own beliefs, emotions, and actions. I am, in history, many philosophers, heroes, leaders, teachers have been poisoned, reminding us in mythology and facts that in most cases the first poison is created within. Me, what is that poison? I am. Are you ready to find out what poison means? Me, I guess so. I am. Venom is known to be a corrosive and destructive chemical compound of life that paralyzes and leads to death. It is a defense weapon for many creatures, such as the snake, the spider, and the scorpion, who use these toxins to defend themselves or paralyze their victim and eat them with peace of mind. Thus, this word has for us a negative and destructive connotation of life. However, you will see the paradox when you know that poison is the origin of the word Venus. Me, the Roman goddess of love? I am, exactly. And do you know why? Me, clearly not. I am, because poison comes from the Indo-European win, which means love. I eat. I am. What you hear, it seems incongruous. Truth? Me, absolutely. But I don't understand why. I am. The very word poison gave rise to the word venerate. Venus and veneration are similar because one venerates what one loves, what one admires, venerates gods, people, couples, loves, objects, places. But the Venusian is not only related to pure love, but to all kinds of love. Sensuality, sexuality, possession, attachment, the tender, the virginal, carnal, the taboo. Tenderness and pure virginity is represented by the deer in Spanish, a word that also comes from win, but in its darkest aspect. It also gives rise to the term venial. Venial refers to all that is sinful, lustful, the carnal errors of the blood, that which is unforgivable. The concept makes us see the negative aspect of poison, that which it destroys. For ancient cultures, there was no such thing as good and evil in an external way. Rather, evil was interpreted as the inner poison of the person, The same blood that we carry inside can give us life or destroy us inside. In this way, life and love can also be understood as death and hatred, since they are not external opposites but internal expressions. Me. You yourself create your own poison from what you love. I am. Tell me, who really started the Trojan War? Me, Paris, for his love for Helena. I am. And tell me, how did you find Helena? Me, looking for the most beautiful, looking for true love. I am. And who was capable of giving her that love? Me, the goddess of love, Aphrodite, Venus. I am. Do you remember how Aphrodite gives Paris such a woman's love? Me, oh, I already remember it. The apple of discord. I am. Ares, the goddess of dispute, created a beautiful apple destined for the most beautiful in the world, which was awarded both Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite. To get out of the dispute, they decided that a third party would give their opinion on the decision. And they chose our friend Paris, Prince of Troy. The three of them offered Paris things: power, wisdom, and love, respectively. Paris chose love, so Aphrodite kidnapped Helena, the most beautiful woman in the world, for him. Me. Love was the poison that started the war. I am. In the ancient interpretation, the sacred trinity that every human must recognize is the will, wisdom, and love, the three goddesses. The bone of contention is in the constant dispute that individuals make between what they will put as the main motivation of their lives. The power, the will of Hera, gives capacity for action, manifestation, pragmatism, the realization of every object in life. The wisdom and mental strategy of Athena leads to a calculating mind, outside of emotions, that can foresee all future movements, giving understanding in existence and glory in consciousness. The love of Aphrodite encompasses all emotions, the feeling of fullness in life, the unity of all things, and in turn, all the comforts and pleasures of human life. Humans often choose Aphrodite because his gift is immediate, pleasant, related to the long-sought idea of happiness. But feeling love without having inner power makes us live for others, destroying our own lives. To love without wisdom is to live in disorder, because energy does not have a specific direction. In the same way that having power without love makes you selfish, that wisdom without love makes you a frivolous calculator. That power without wisdom makes you a tyrant. That wisdom without power makes you useless. It is a holy trinity, but nevertheless, love turns every emotional and energetic base that mobilizes your wisdom and will into fuel or poison. Thus, for the ancients, mismanaged love is the poison of the soul. Me, wow, it makes sense. As in a snake or scorpion, the very thing that saves their lives is what can kill them. They carry within themselves the death sentence of others and of themselves if they do not know how to administer the doses. I am. Everything is based on harmony, coherence. knowing how to use inner power in a balanced way. We all carry a poison inside us because we all have mismanaged love energy. Me, how would that be? I am jealousy, control over the other, attachment, punishment, projections, emotional manipulation, addictions, both sexual and drug addictions, anger, resentment, hatred, pain, desire for revenge. All of this is poison that once was love. Me, how do I make my poisons pure love again? I am. You must first accept that the poison exists in you, that the Kundalini serpent is not flowing in your favor, and it has curled around your waist, biting your sacrum, as happens to Laocoon. Then you must identify what is that poison that eats away at your life. Thus, you must identify when you have lived it. When was the first time or circumstance in which you felt it? And there you'll discover that it was born from a failed love. That is, from something that did not meet your expectations of feeling happiness. You expected to feel, and something stopped it. A thought, idea, belief, situation, emotion, circumstance. Something changed or did not go as expected, leaving a void that needed to be filled with something, and that something became your poison that sinks you towards the dark and dirty waters of the subconscious. And that is why today I advise you that before sleeping. Me, I will do it. I understand then that poison is mismanaged love, and that when people say you have to eliminate that poison, or he is a poisonous person, or he swallows his own poison, and all those phrases, you have to rethink them, recognizing that we have created this poison ourselves to defend ourselves from something in which we feel weak due to lack of love. Like the snake, the spider, and the Scorpio, they created poison in order to supply tools that they did not have, and in this way they could protect themselves. If the love I seek does not allow me to radiate, then I create a poison to take care of myself. It would be the logic of the body. I am. The mind has created stories and myths to remind us of our greatest regrets. Therefore, in the legends or the maps to psychology, myth comes from the Greek word mythos and means story. That is, words that became action. Psychology comes from the Greek psyche, soul, and logos, knowledge. That is, myths are the words that narrate what the soul knows. They should never be taken literally, as their narrators told stories that only the soul of a poet in love could understand. That is why now you know that the story of Laocoon hid what your soul felt and your mind could not explain. The frustrating gaze of someone who suffers the betrayal of wisdom and will in the hands of love, that, without awareness or empowerment, becomes the poison of the soul. Me. Now I will look at the sculpture with different eyes, as well as at my own weaknesses and poisons. I will put all my intention in recognizing you, and from there liberate you in consciousness and empowerment, returning you love again. I am. In the meantime, humanity will continue to fight for the apple of discord, trying to identify whether will, wisdom, or love is the most beautiful thing in life, creating meaningless wars until the day they see that all three, they were just as beautiful, and that the apple can always be shared.